Welcome back to another episode of Let Love Be Your Guide. My name is your host, Dominique Chantel, and I will be guiding you through this amazing experience today. Listen, this is the month of February. And so, being that it is the month of love and it's Black History Month, I am going to be talking about and going through a series called You Should Take the Risk Believing in Yourself. And so, with this series, I'm so excited. This is my first series. We're going to be talking about the 6 points that I lay out to you to say that these are the things that you need to do in order to believe in yourself and execute the plan. Okay, so if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe because new videos will be dropping every week, Wednesday at 12 a.m. And then go ahead and head over to my Instagram, my Facebook, and Snapchat, not Snapchat, but TikTok and Twitter. Okay, and I'll go ahead and place those links below so you won't miss anything from me. And so you'll be the first to know when anything drops from Let Love Be Your Guide. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode. Again, we're talking about taking the risk, believing in yourself. And so tonight I just want to lay out 6 keys to believing in yourself. Okay, so go ahead and let's get into the episode. Okay, so when I say believing in yourself, I'm laying down the foundation for you to execute your plan in life, what it is you want to do, what God has purposed you to do, and you execute in that plan and doing it with a belief and knowing that you will succeed in the end and that all will be well. Okay, and so the first thing I want to say is that whatever you do in this life, um, whether decide to write a book, whether you decide to open a business, whether you decide to raise kids, whether you decide to be a wife, okay? Whatever you do in this life, there will be sacrifice, okay? There will be sacrifice in this life. So I want you to know that there's going to be sacrifice. Okay. And believing in yourself, taking the risk. That's the title. Yes. But knowing that, again, there will be sacrifice. Okay. There will be sacrifice in this life. So, yes, whatever your purpose is and believing in yourself and dreams will require sacrifice. So I want you to know that because I think we oftentimes think that when we want things, we're just supposed to get them automatically. But no matter who you ask, your parents, your friends, your spouse, your loved one, whoever, they had to sacrifice to get to where they are. And nothing comes without a sacrifice. So whatever you choose to do, know that there will be sacrifice attached to it. That's just like if you choose to live out God's purpose for your life, there's going to be sacrifice attached to that. If you choose not to live out God's purpose for your life, there's going to be sacrifice attached to whatever you decide to do outside. I hope you don't do that. The goal is to find your purpose so that you can live an abundant life. But there is sacrifice attached to everything that you decide to do in life. Okay, and we won't just automatically get get things just instantly, right? I believe some things do come from like miracles or through connections, but a lot of the things that we get, it's through sacrifice. Okay. Um, and so that's point one. This podcast for me and my book, when I decided to create the podcast, again, I'm taking time away from my family. I'm taking time away from my children in order to create this podcast. I'm taking time away to write the book, to produce content and to produce things that I believe that the world should hear, the world should know about, and that we have to get this self-love thing right. Because if we don't love ourselves, we will not live an abundant life. Okay, it's all about, again, we have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice. So I have to sacrifice this, my time, in order to give you this content and the material for my book. Okay, so just want to let you know that. Secondly, I want to say that you have to have self-worth. Okay, you must have self-worth. And so what is self-worth? Okay, do you value yourself? Do you value yourself? Do you value yourself? I want you to answer that in your head. I just want to read off some key scriptures about, self worth. Um, and to build you up. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For the spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self discipline." Psalms 139:13 through 14 says, "You are the one who put me together inside my mother's body. And I praise you because of the wonderful way you created me. Everything you do is marvelous. Of this I have no doubt." Proverbs 3:6 says, "Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take." So again, knowing your value in God. And then Proverbs 3:26, "For the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught." Okay, so we have to know that our self value, it comes from a place where God has already established and given us self value. He's put the stamp on you and he's saying, "Here, this is who you are. I called you son. I called you daughter. I called you not to be timid. Everything that you are is exceptional." And we have to believe that. You have to believe that in your mind. You have to get in the process, get in just the mindset that you are great. You are magnificent. You are not average, right? You are above that. And so you have to get that in your mind. And once you get that in your mind, I believe we can start to, again, do these wonderful things and live in purpose and what God has called us to do. And also, the thing is, this life will beat you down and people will beat you down too. And so you have to be aware and careful of the company that you keep, you know, um, and the things that you take inside your mind. That is important. You ever watch a movie and you have nightmares, or you ever do something or go somewhere with somebody and you that just sits in your spirit and you're like, wow, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I'm having these thoughts, or what, prompted that response, or what prompted that reaction, or what prompted that dream. Look at, number one, who's around you, what you've been taking in, okay, and what you've been reading or looking at and listening to. Those are the gateways, okay, to our soul. So we have to make sure that all these things that we are protecting, when you talk about self preservation, you have to, again, preserve yourself in a way. I feel like that's where you have to preserve yourself, right? So that you can be abundant minded, so that you can influence, so that you can take in the positive, and the thing is, and spit out the negative, you know. So make sure, again, watch the company you keep, watch what you're listening to, watch what you're watching, watch who's around you. That is so important. Okay. um in this season, I need people that are praying and seeking God. I need people that are going to uplift me. It basically, in every season of my life, I need that, but especially, in this season, I need some prayer warriors. I need some ride or dies. I need some people that are going to be with me through this tough time. I need some people that are going to be with me through this time of grief. I think, you know we think that people have to be obligated, but nobody is obligated to you. And you have to pick the people who are going to be down with you. If they're loyal and you know them to be loyal, they're probably going to stick with you. If they're not, and they're flighty, they're wishy-washy, they're not probably going to be with you. So make sure, again, you are, number one, around people who champion you, who love on you, who pray for you, who encourage you, who push you to be the best. Because that's what God desires, excellence, Black excellence. Okay? So get that in your mind. Next, self confidence Do you feel good about yourself? I read the Bible verse. A lot of the Bible verses, again, we go back to, for the Lord will be your confidence and will keep your foot from being caught. Confidence in God. Okay. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. I mean, I came to you in weakness, timid and trembling, and my message and my preaching were very plain. Rather than using clever and persuasive speeches, I relied only on the power of the Holy Spirit. Building yourself up, get in that level of confidence. You have the power to do anything, but you have to be careful where you direct your energy and where you direct what you want to do. The goal is to live a purpose-filled life, to learn what your purpose is for what God put you here to do. And then you have to be confident in your abilities and in your skills that he gave you. Okay? What skills do you have? What abilities do you have that you can share and use to help other people and to sow into other people? That's what it's about. And you have to know and be confident in those skills and abilities. For so long, I was, self-conscious about me speaking, about my writing. I'm like, God, who's going to listen? Who's going to like my writing? Who's going to look at my podcast? But, I had to throw those thoughts out of the way because it was hindering me. And God is like, let me do that. Let me work that out. I just called you. I need you to write this book. I need you to start this business. I need you to start this foundation. I need you to create this course. I need you to create this merchandise to get the message out. And I'll bring the people to you, but I need you to do what I'm telling you to do. And so that's my message to you. You have to be confident in who God called you to be and in what he called you to do. And when you're low on confidence, get filled up in him. In your weakness, God is strong. And with that, you are magnificent. Again, you can do the impossible. You can do the unimaginable with God on your side. If God before you, who can be against you? So we have to build ourselves up and be confident in yourself. Okay. So again, be confident in your skills and those abilities. Please, please, please. Um, so you must have self-confidence. Okay. Um, you must have self-worth. Okay. And then guess what? You have to be able to trust yourself. So nothing is ever done without trust, right? So when I give my kids something, I tell them, hey, go and take this. I'm just using an example to the laundry room and put it in there and then come back. That means I trust them to walk to the laundry room, to put their dirty clothes in the laundry room and come back. Had I not trusted them, I would have just said, hey, I'll just do it myself. But nothing, and that's just a small action, nothing is ever done without trust. And so, do you trust yourself enough to walk into your purpose? Do you trust yourself enough to do the things that you've been put here to do? Do you trust yourself? And if the answer is no, then you need to go back and figure out, okay, why don't I trust myself? You need to start working those little nuances out. But if the answer is yes, then you need to run, right? Run, okay, to the mission and run towards your purpose. Because if you trust yourself, baby, let me tell you, you gonna make it. You will succeed, okay, because you believe in yourself and you trust yourself to carry out the vision. And again, we may get a little nervous and falter and get a little like, oh God, I don't know. But at the end of the day, God trusts you with it. So that should be enough. It's just all about you getting enough confidence, enough self-worth, enough, knowing that you have to sacrifice, getting all that up out of you so you can run with it and know that if God trusted you with it, he wants you to do it. And it is now not a choice, it's a responsibility. And I give, Pastor Dr. Darius Daniels that credit. He says when you have a God-given purpose, it is not a choice, it becomes a responsibility, because people are connected to what you have to offer. And what is it that you have to offer that you haven't put out yet? It could be something as simple as just being consistent in your personality with who you are, who God has called you to be, to love, who God has called you to be patient, who God has called you to be kind, who God has called you to be caring, who God has called you to be empathetic, who God has called you to be to serve the homeless, who God has called you to be to serve the needy. What is it? Because somebody's waiting on you. Hello. So you have to pick your destiny, pick the events. I talked about destiny last a couple of podcasts ago, but about destiny is a choice, right? The actions that you choose, destiny, that's a choice in my mind. And if I'm wrong, put it down in the chat. Somebody correct me. But purpose is not a choice. Purpose is something that God put down into you. You have purpose to fulfill. But the destiny is what you choose, the events that you choose. So you can even choose to walk into your purpose, and then things lead you to those actions, or you can choose not to. And that's your destiny. You've chosen that, right? But my thing is, at the end of the day, you have to know where you're going. Okay. And here's the thing, you got to trust yourself. And the fact that God trusted you with it should be answer enough, should be more than enough. That you have to learn to trust yourself. Okay. Um, Lastly, my point, with all these points, and I'm going to talk about each one each week until we're done. So I'm going to dedicate 6 weeks to just talking about taking the risk, believing in yourself, having basically sacrificing whatever it is to get to where you need to be. Okay. But the last step I want to say, so the last point is, what are the steps that you're taking to boost yourself up? What action are you putting behind? Whether you said yes or no to any of those questions. If you said yes, then you're already on the right track. So what steps are you going to need to propel you forward, right? To help you further. If you said no, we need to walk it back and say, okay, how do I get my self-worth? How do I know what to sacrifice and when to sacrifice? How do I get self-confidence? How do I trust myself? How do I take action? What do I need to do? So I'm going to walk you through each step. So stick with me. We're going somewhere, y'all. We're going somewhere. Okay. So those are my points. If you have something else that you want to add, please drop it below in the video. I'm not going to hold you long, but if you haven't already, go buy the book, Let Love Be Your Guide, Volume 1. I'm dropping Volume 2 this year. I'm so excited. I'm also dropping a course that's coming in the works. Download the podcast. Share my videos when you see them on IG, on TikTok, on YouTube, and tell everybody you know. Listen, I want to educate and fill so many people up with showing them how to love themselves. And that starts with the love of God on the inside. But you have to be able to love yourself on the inside first. You got to be able to be do you on the inside first. That's it. Because if you can't love yourself, then you can't love other people. Okay? How can you love somebody else when you don't know how to be patient with yourself? How do you love somebody else if you don't know how to be kind to yourself? If you don't know how to give yourself grace? If you don't know how to um, be unconditional, exhibit that unconditional love? How? You can't love people properly if you haven't given that love to yourself first. And you got to be whole, not perfect, but whole, and be self-aware. So that's what we're going to be getting into this podcast, talking about self-awareness, being whole, all of those things. So stick with me. We going somewhere, okay? And the only way to go is up. We're boosting ourselves up, believing in ourselves. And this year, I know God, if you stick with me, God is going to do something amazing in your life. He's going to show you how to love yourself the right way. And in turn, you can love God, you can love others. Okay? God commands us to love your neighbor as you love thyself. So that's implied that you have to know how to learn to love yourself first. Ain't no way around it. Okay? All right. I love you guys. Until the next episode. Listen, may you always be believing so that you can always be receiving. And may you always, always let love be your guide in life today, forever, and always. I love you. Peace.